Oh, welcome everyone. I think this skill in the textbook's all about expanding brackets, and that's a useful skill. I talked last video about using and inserting brackets around things to protect it, and that's a good use of brackets. And in this work, we'll look at it a couple of different ways. And the first thing I've just got 3x plus 21 written here. I look at this and I see that 3 is a common factor to both these things. So how could I write this differently just to demonstrate that to you? And so I wrote it like this. 3 times the value of x, whatever it is, who knows, is the same thing as 3 times 7. Can you see how I put the arrows there? Because there's a 3, it's common to both. So what I can do is drag that out the front and write, instead of writing 3x plus 21, I can write 3x, 3 outside the brackets. So that 3 is multiplied through everything in here, and we just put x plus 7 in the brackets. Someone's done that for you. In the creation of these questions, they have been thinking exactly along these lines here. And they have thought about this, and then they have created this. And now they're giving you this stuff here, and they're asking you to expand the brackets. And the way that you do that, the way that you expand the brackets, and I call these training wheels. These are your training wheels. These little marks that you make on your page are to remind you to multiply whatever's out the front of the brackets through everything inside the brackets, okay? So when we do that correctly, what we end up with is, I just got to grab that card again, 3x plus 21. All right? And that's your answer, and you'd be told to stop there sometimes, unless you're asked to solve for x, okay? So they're training wheels, and just like training wheels when you first learn to ride a bike, once you know what you're doing, you don't have to write these marks. So if you're struggling, I'm going to ask you to write these things as a reminder until you don't need to do it anymore, okay? And you can expand the brackets, because they're the instructions. Expand the brackets, and then you'll write your answer as 3x plus 21. Now, the other thing to think about is that what have I got? Another example here, which is really, really useful. So when you're asked to solve, at any point, if things are easy for you, you can solve by inspection, okay? And that's reassuring because you know the answer, right? You might be able to peer inside these brackets, and you might be thinking 5 times something has to equal 30. So if you cover all that up, well, no, let's start here, cover that up. You know that this stuff, whatever I've covered up in here, is multiplied by 5, so 5 times 6 is 30. I've got it just from my times tables. Okay, so now cover up this bit. How do I make 6 here? Well, I've already got 4. I've got to add something to it. I've got to add 2 to it to make everything in the brackets equal to 6. And if we just go back right to the beginning and we think BODMAS, well, BODMAS tells me to do the stuff inside the brackets first, and so this has to be equal to 6. So the value of m has to be 2. All right, so that's reassuring. We know our answer, but what are you asked to demonstrate? And you're asked to do things like this. We're going to divide both sides by 5, and they're going to cancel on that side, and we're going to think about this as 30. 30 divided by 5 is 6. So writing an equivalent equation, we're going to end up in that place anyway. So what have we got? I've got m plus 4 is equal to 6 now. That's my equivalent equation. And I'm just going to solve that and write my final step, m equals 2. I knew that at the very beginning. So again, this is all kind of very simple sort of algebra, okay? And I'm here to sort of teach you how to write the steps out. And again, think of it as a conversation. We've got a starting point. I want to see what you're doing and how you got there. And the answer is just the final little statement that you're going to write down the end. I need to see a couple of moves in between, okay? Also, have a look here. I did this because I saw this has ended in a 0, and I knew I was going to divide by 5 on both sides anyway. So a lot of these questions are asking you to expand the brackets first and actually do more work than what's required. So sometimes that won't be possible. Sometimes you actually have to expand the brackets out first, because you'll look over on the right hand side and you won't see that whatever the number is outside the bracket is a factor of what's on the right hand side. So I'm going to do a few more questions and mix it up a little bit for you and show you a few other examples. Okay. Now with this set of skills, you've been asked to expand the brackets, and I wish the questions were a little bit tougher for you to force you to actually expand the brackets. And in this video, that's where we'll go quite quickly, because sometimes you don't need to. You can see the answer, and sometimes what it's equal to on the right hand side is actually the number out the front of the brackets is a factor. So let's have a look at what we've got here. I call them training wheels, and they're just a reminder of what to do. We need to, and I'd much prefer, you can write it out beside it, but this is what I'd prefer you to do, is write it underneath 2 times x is 2x, keep the sign the same, and then come back to the number at the front here and go 2 times 1. Because the rookie mistake here, I sometimes make it. I'm in such a big hurry, sometimes make this mistake. I just look inside the bracket and I write the 1. Okay? So easy to do. And what you need to think about is 2 times 1 and write the 2. So let's try another one. Let's try another one down here. We've got 5 outside of 2b plus 3. Now, 5 is a common factor to both 2b plus 3. And we can drop the training wheels because they're just a reminder. 5 times 2 is 10. B plus 5, keep the sign the same. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, I'm just going to expand that out again because I'm looking at 10 as 5 times 2 times B plus 15. I look at it as 5 times 3. So if you missed what I just said about 5 is out the front of the brackets because it is a common factor, well, have a look at it with fresh eyes now and see that's actually the case. So that little step of expanding the brackets is just often just creating bigger numbers. And sometimes I don't think that's the easiest thing to do. So let's demonstrate that exact point, what I'm saying to you now. So I'm just going to move this down a little bit. And what have we got? We've got 6 outside of 2, D plus 3, and that's all equal to 54. Where's my equal sign? I didn't put it in. Squash it up a little bit on this line. So what am I thinking about here? If I wanted to solve this, I could do 6 times some box is equal to 54. Okay, so if that's true, that's got to be 9. So everything inside the brackets has got to be 9. So 2 times something plus another 3. Well, the value of D is equal to 3 here. All right. I know that, I've solved that. And so often what they're doing, asking you to expand the brackets, is to write this. 6 times 2 is 12. Sorry, I shouldn't put an equal sign there either. 12d plus 18, 6 times 3 is 18, is equal to 54. So the numbers are bigger now, and what we've got to do is subtract 18 from both sides to end up with 12d equals, I'm thinking about this, and it's 54 minus 18 is 36. I divide both sides by 12 and I end up with d. 12 goes into 12 once and goes in here 3 times, so d is equal to 3. Okay, we guessed that, we knew that, and expanding the brackets actually made the harder work. And so here's my tip for you. Although it says expand brackets, you got to think really carefully about when you need to do it. So why don't I divide all this by 6, both sides by 6, and then I end up with 2d plus 3. 6 goes in here once, goes in here 9 times, we established that. So this is equal to 9. Subtract 3 from both sides, and we're at 2d equals 6, so the value of d is equal to 3. Cognitively, the load is less if we take the time to see if these guys are factors of each other, and so we can do the division straight up, because this 6 is sitting out the front. It is a common factor to everything inside the brackets, and if we expand it out first, it just makes life a lot harder. So I'm going to clean the board and come back to you with some more examples. Now I just want to take it to the next level, because if you're sitting there and you've thought about what I've just said, you understand that when we look at a question like this, we see that 6 is common to all that stuff in the brackets, and 4 is common to all this other stuff in the brackets over here. Now, I like these style of questions because now we're in the game and it's forcing you to expand the brackets before you do anything else. That's what we need to do. So let's expand it and see what we've got. So 6 times 2 is 12, j, minus 6 times 4 is 24, plus 4 times 4 is 16, j, subtract 12, and all that's equal to 20. Okay, can you see how I've tried to line everything up and I've kept the signs the same where they need to be the same? I haven't changed anything there. All I've done is multiply the common factor that's sitting outside the brackets through everything that's inside the brackets. And now I can do some, I call it the tidy up step. So I've got 12j here and another 16. Just be mindful that's plus 16. And this is a positive 12, by the way, too. So what have I got here? I've got 28j. And I'm just going to change the color of my pen because I've got subtract 24 and subtract 12. Well, that's the same as subtract 36, and that's all equal to 20. Now, I'm starting to see the answer here already, now that I've done that tidy up step, but for completeness sake, I'm just going to add 36 to both sides, and I'm done with the numbers. I've got my term over here, 28j is equal to 56, and I can see that j is equal to 2. 2 times 28 is 56. I was just thinking about doubling that number, so I've got my value of j there. So we'll do one more. And add another layer of complexity here. Remembering these are just, I guess, like every other exercise in your book, it's just teaching you one little isolated step at a time. And what I really want to do is just kind of put everything together in the one spot. So hopefully I'm not going to run out of room here. but I won't know until I review the video, and I'll just pretend that my page is ending and I'm going to make that all equal to 123. So hopefully that's still on the board there. And there's my equation. It looks kind of like a mess, and it's really a sign that I've got to multiply the 2 through all this stuff here. The 5 has got to be multiplied through these things here. The 8, same deal. Okay, so what's that going to look like? That's going to look like 6x plus 8 plus 30x plus 35 plus 72. 8 times 9 is 72x plus 80. And now that's all equal to 123. So let's do the tidy up step here. I'm changing the color of my pens. Let's just deal with all these x's here. So what do we got? 6 plus 6. Well, let's do it. 30 plus 70 is 100. And what do we got? We've got 108. 108 x's plus, and number wise, what have I got? I've got 8 plus 35 plus 80. So that's 115 plus the 8, and I'm at 123. Oh dear me. Because I can see what's happening next, and I'm subtracting 123 from both sides, and the value of x turns out to be equal to 0 because I subtracted those guys. They cancel each other out too. So x is equal to 0. So I've done all that complicated work, and I haven't been able to see that the value of x is 0. But eventually, by expanding the brackets and collecting up the like terms and collecting up just the numbers that are hanging around, I eventually realized that the value of x is 0. And if I look again at my equation, what I've got here in purple here, orange here, these numbers here, we've got 8 plus 35 plus 80. They're all hiding in those brackets, and that's all equal to 123. So eventually 123 equals 123. So my equation is correct, and that's the way I'm thinking about checking this one to make sure and satisfy myself that I've actually done the work correctly. All right, thank you.